Hey there everyone, my name is Dr. Tommy Dobbs. I'm the percussion professor here at Oklahoma City University, and I'm here to talk to you about the snare drum etude for this year's Oklahoma All-State. With auditions coming up just around the corner, I thought we might take a look at 3 things that will take your playing to the next level and help you focus in these last few weeks of preparation. So, the first thing we're going to talk about are metronome tricks, kind of getting yourself right there in the pocket as far as time is concerned. Next, we're going to talk about roll types. This etude has lots of them. And last, we're going to talk a little bit about the dotted 32nd 64th note passage found at the bottom of page 1. Hang on tight, guys. Let's dive in. All right, everyone. It's time to do some metronome tricks. Let's start with the first 2 lines of page 1. What I've found, and especially being a judge behind the curtain, a lot of people focus on the scary stuff, like the bottom of page 1. However, if called upon, we have to make sure that our time is always solid and that we're always playing exactly what's on the page. I really want you to focus in on how every single strike happens and how it vertically aligns with the metronome. Cool, let's dive in. I have the metronome at 132. All right, now let's take away the 32nd note subdivision and go to 16th notes. Now it gets a little harder with larger subdivisions. We're going to go with 8th notes now. So now we go with every 3 8th notes, and I'm only going to have a beep, beep, beep going. Here we go. Now, let's take this same concept and do line 3 to line 7. Check it out. All right, it's now time to talk about rolls. We have so many different types that Cirone asked for. We have tied rolls, untied rolls, staccato rolls, so many kinds of rolls. Anyway, I'm going to take you through the trickiest passage for me on the 2nd page, line 4 through line 6. Let's break it down. I'm going to start with a performance of it with the metronome. Later, I'll play the whole thing on the actual snare drum. So let's try. All right, let's break it down a little bit. First, let's start with the untied rolls. The untied rolls here on line 4 are dotted and then immediately are followed by 16th notes. That means there needs to be a break in sound right before the 16th notes come. Later in that measure, you'll see the same dotted 8th note roll tied to the downbeat. Right there, we need to make sure there's a clean tap and then back into untied rolls. So what we're going to do first is break this down with roll basses. My roll basses for this are all going to be 32nd note bass. So the first untied roll will have 4 of them. Then I'll break the sound, play the 16th notes, then I'll play 4 more, break the sound, play the 16th notes, then 6 of them right to the next downbeat. Let me show you what I mean. So if we do that second measure now, you'll see a couple untied rolls, then a tied roll to a staccato note, don't overthink that, then another tied 8th note roll all the way to the next downbeat. So for the first set of untied, I'm going to do 2 32nd notes each, then I'm going to do 2 32nd notes for that tied roll to the staccato downbeat, then I'm going to do 6 32nd notes all the way from the tied dotted 8th to the next downbeat. It'll sound like this. All right, we're getting close to the staccato rolls now. So if you look at line 5 on page 2, we now have 2 sets of staccato rolls. This is fun. You can have a good time with this if you'd like to, or you could be stressed out. It's up to you. I choose to do the staccato rolls as a drop buzz with a little bit of pressure, and I use 2 hands. You can also do the same technique that I'm going to do with just 1 hand if you want a lighter sound. So let me show you what it will look like slowly. That takes care of the tied rolls, the untied rolls, and the staccato rolls. If I was learning this for the first time, I would be writing in every single one of these roll basses. That way, you know exactly what's going on. Don't trust your memory. You have so much going on, just a simple pencil can fix everything. Anyway, not trying to preach, let's play some drums. Don't forget, you can add our metronome tricks to this right here. Watch this. All right, you notice that I'm going into the next measure? I do this a lot. I work on transitions in and out of hard sections. Sometimes that's actually the only problem. We just forget what the next section feels like. So try starting a little bit before a section and then go a little bit after a section. Let's perform this on a real drum. It's time to get to that last section on the first page, the dotted 32nd 64th note passage. I built an exercise that will help you get the feeling of how to do this and slowly give you the endurance you need to play it at 132 at pianissimo. As we do this, I want you to listen in to how the metronome sounds when we play the dotted 32nd 64th note passage. Can you hear every single subdivision underneath it? Specifically, can you hear the inner two notes in between the dotted 32nd and 64th note? That's the goal. We want to be able to hear da 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 da. We want to be able to hear those inner notes. That way when we're faster, we have something to guide us in the right direction. So again, I built an exercise that fills in the spaces that we're not playing. It looks like this. After you do this for a while and start speeding up the tempo to around 130, 132, you'll notice that it gets a little bit disorienting, and that's okay. It's supposed to. So when it gets to the faster tempos, I keep that same concept in my mind of listening for the inner pulses of everything, but I go back to our original metronome tricks that we did at the very beginning. I'm going to have it click eighth notes, then every 3 eighth notes. Let's check it out. I really hope that this was helpful. My only goal here is to try to get you to where you want to be. We all want to go to All-State. We all want to play with the best players. But just think about this. As you work on these exercises, you are getting better forever, not just for November. So I hope this is helpful. If you need or have specific questions, please reach out to me. My email is tdobbs@okcu.edu, and you can reach out anytime or head to my website at www.tommydobbspercussion.com for everything that I've talked about here and a lot more stuff. So this is Tommy Dobbs signing off. I hope you have a good one, and happy practicing, everyone.